Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lemon City TV. I'm your host, Lemon City. You know, we always bring this compass series on your television, your phone, or tabloid. Lemon City TV is the channel, and today on this third episode of the compass series, trust me, we're bringing one of the finest, one of the visitors that have been in the previous videos, an author, a satirical poet, and always bring these minds into the society, trying to expand our minds into things that we cannot see. He's an author, he's a poet, and he's a journalist, certified one. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me welcome Mr. Agapito Akampura to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Lemon, for hosting me on Lemon City TV. This is my second time being here, and I'm really glad to be here. My name is Agapita Kampurira, a writer and an author of 2 books so far.
Thank you very much. As already said, Mr. Agapito. This is the second time, and we appreciate for your time.
Thank you very much.
So, first things first. Like in 10 seconds, give us a recap of your first book.
My first book is The Betrayed Village, a story of 2 schoolgirls who have dreams, but they end up getting shattered because along the path of their academic journey, they get astray and do not really keep in line to fulfill their dreams. So it's a story, a sad story, but of course talking about the realities in life and how best we can deliver ourselves from being like such victims.
Very wonderful. Anyone who wants to know more about the first book, you can check out previous video with Mr. Gapto, and also you can check out on all on his socials and see how you can get this book. Also in the comment section, if you want the book, you can also tell us. So, before going into this wonderful piece of work, how is the life of the author?
The life of an author is really a funny one because one of the scholars said that authors actually live a very funny life. Like people expect you to be of a different lifestyle, yet it's actually the opposite. Some people even actually think that authors do not hang out, they do not maybe engage in politics. They are always silent people, but actually it may not be true. I think authors have different lifestyles, and some of them are funny people.
Do you hang out?
Not often, but sometimes when it's necessary.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, allow me officially launch Wounded and Oppressed, an Oppressed Handbook by Agapito Akampura. It's a very beautiful art of work, and his second book by Agapito. The publications, it's from the Iconic Publications. So he will be giving us a recap of this second piece of work, and then we shall continue to delve much into it. So, Mr. Agapito,
Yes,
what
please.
is all about this second book of yours?
It's called Wounded, an Oppressed Handbook. It's a political fiction dedicated to the oppressors and the oppressed. Yeah, so people who like to read about political fiction, books about politics, it's an interesting to read for everyone from both parties of the what of the coin, the oppressor and the oppressed.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, allow me. I'm going to read for you the plot of this book, and then he will give us much more details about the book. So he says, when Mateo comes to Casita to help him with his campaign duties for the chiefship position in Ironco, he swears to be a leader of good years, sitting in the highest office of the land. Mateo begins to change to a murderous dictator. Can Casita escape from the wrath of a leader he initially had hopes in? Would he ever heal from the painful wounds suffered on the journey to freedom? Can the brutal Mateo quit his cannibalism tendencies and fulfill his promises as a manifesto?
Yeah, that's it.
What is so much all about this Mateo and the villages in this book and likes?
Matayo is a leader who aspires to be a chief. This is the highest office in Ilonko, the highest office on the land. Yeah, but of course, he comes to Casita to help him with his campaign duties because Casita is a man of a good reputation. And since Casita is not a politician, he first refuses, but this person persuades him that, no, come on, these are the ideologies that I stand for. And this person is persuaded to join him and be one of his campaign agents, thinking that the person had come maybe to liberate the chiefdom and hope for the better through his leadership. Yeah, so when he attains that office, he starts to change, like you saw, to a murderous dictator, starts to whip those who disagree with him, he grows some cannibalism tendencies and starts to eat those who oppose him, killing them and storing them in his big refrigerator at his residence. So at the end of the day, the person who helped him to get into that office really regrets why he had a hand in bringing such a devil to office. So at the end of the day, even runs away from the chiefdom that he once called Mama Ironko. and swears never to come back.
Damn, this looks so much of a wonderful book. So, where do you find the inspiration for your books?
I find that my inspiration from the people who have written before me and who continue to write up today. I've always admired Chinua Achebe, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, because they always address issues that affect the current, the contemporary societies. So in my own country, Mr. Kakweza has been my inspiration. Dr. Stella Nyanzi, Dr. Jimmy Spire, who is a columnist at the Observer and a cartoonist. They have really been instrumental in bringing out things that affect the oppressed, and as well as being the voice of the voiceless. So,
Okay.
of course, not leaving out the cost that comes with activism through writing and use of a pen. There is always a threat that maybe a pen is not mightier anymore. It is the gun that works. But these people have changed
Do
that.
you still believe that the pen is better than the sword?
Yes, I do, because at the end of the day, if, for example, I wrote such a fictional book, and I sold 1 million copies, I will have impacted the lives of 1 million readers.
Did you capture that? He sold 1 million copies of his first art piece of work. That's incredible, man. That's
Thank you.
incredible. Do you still believe that through the writings, through you people are preaching activism and all those inspirations of yours that you're talking about, the society can change through that? Do you feel like Africans, specifically, if you talk about the country like Uganda, people still have that vibe or can have that vibe to read? Because I remember when I was studying still back, they were told us like, if you want to hide something from an African, put it in writing. So do you believe that people have now gotten that urge to read, and through that maybe most of the society concerns can be addressed?
I think it's a matter of dedication, because, and of course, taking baby steps at a time. So it begins with an individual that, in case they see that this is what they relate to and what they believe in, they can always pick that book from the shelf. Much as they don't have time to read or they are busy with work, it depends on the person's on a person's inner mind, that what am I interested to read, and at the end of the day, they end up picking the book from the shelf. But of course, there are also other ways through which the message can reach out the people who do not love to read. We have seen people draw cartoons. We have seen people put the books into audio ones. So the message can still reach, much as we have not put into paper, or a person has not. It's not a guarantee that they just have to read the book in hard copy.
Mr. Gapcho,
Yes,
through
please.
your writings or maybe through any other person doing something, we always have the goals that we want to achieve. Personally, Lemon City TV, the reason why I'm doing this, I want to be the best in
Yes,
terms of
please.
the TV personality, in terms
Yes,
of
please.
radio. What is your goal that made you to write, and what is that goal that you're looking so much into to achieve through your writings?
My goal to write was actually to change the lives of those readers who think things are not going right. But of course, at the end of the day, not provide solutions. So mine is to disseminate the message to the populace and be like, hey, this is what I think things should be going that way. But of course, as well as guiding them on what I think is best and wrong. So mine is tell a story and of course guide the readers on what should be done best. Much as I cannot change much because I'm powerless. My only thing that I can do is put things to paper. Then of course my expectations is that, of course, to make friends, social capital. That's my major goal. I can know, yeah, to make friends, and of course to travel, meet new people, and of course continue to enhance on my personal knowledge, because it takes a lot to research and come out with such a text and a book.
I so much like to have conversation with writers because of their stories. You said something that I'm quoting. He said so. I cannot change much because I'm powerless. What do
Yes.
you consider to be power? What
Um,
is power to you?
Power is, I think, having the courage to change some things that are not going right in society, and having influence, or maybe authority. Because in dictatorships, for example, you find like everything is by the use of the gun. So whether you wrote a book, they'll be like, hey, you wrote your book, but they will first arrest you and ask you what the book is all about. They will threaten you to to, to stop publishing more copies, to stop printing more copies. So I think those with authority, they would rather come to dialogue and be like, if the book is about this theme or this message.
So that brings me to another question. What are the difficulties you as writers that are facing?
um the major challenge would be finances, because it is always costly to publish a book. It's always the author's efforts. Uh, and readers just want a final copy, a final product. So finances are major challenges, but of course also the intimidations and threats that come along from the readers who are discouraging us, that maybe you wrote a political fiction, won't it cause trouble to you? Won't you be hunted down and be gunned down, or maybe something of that sort? But of course, at the end of the day, we just have to be brave and sound tone, and of course pursue our dreams and
Uh,
aspirations.
would you consider writing a romantic piece of work?
Yes, I would, but
Mm,
in my next publication, I'm
mm,
actually looking forward to write, but to be in form of poetry.
mm,
That's where I can put very many love poems
mm,
into paper. But
mm,
but if it's a novel, I don't think I am yet to do so, because there is
mm.
nothing really interesting to write
What
about
is some
actually.
what genre of writing are you so much focusing on?
I focus on I focus more on social justice,
Mm,
and of course questioning why things happen the way they do in society
mm.
without fear. Yeah. So now this one is a political fiction. The other one was about, of course, girls, school going children. So I focus about social justice and questioning why things happen the way they do in society today.
Mm. Can you break down a little bit what social justice entails?
I believe it should be a matter of equality. Like the
Mm,
poor and the rich should all be at the same dining table. No
mm,
one should have more authority than the other. The voice of the voiceless is what I aspire to become. Because at the end of the day, we find that the oppressed are trodden
mm,
upon, and they are deprived of their fundamental human rights, such as
mm,
expression, the freedom to assemble. That's what actually drive the inspiration to write such a book. So I think social justice should be a matter of
mm,
equality, whether despite of your sex, race, religion,
mm.
or anything that you believe in. So it should be a matter of equality.
You talked about the issue of finances. So
Yes.
how did you manage to come up to get these two pieces of work out? How were you helped? Or maybe if you can put the word out there for someone who would like to invest in something for you to see your work that gets to the people.
Um, I got support from my father, Mr. John Bosco Galwanda. I thank him very much.
Yeah, big up to Mr. John Bosco. Yeah,
Yeah,
so your father supports so much what you're doing in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
nonsense.
When he saw the manuscript, he was really glad about that,
Mm,
and he endeavored to support me. But also, there is
that's incredible.
my dear friend, Mr. Joseph Mwanje. Big up, sir.
Oh.
He was always been he has been my leaning
Mm,
shoulder. Every time I reach out to him and be like, look, we have this on the table. He has always come out to support me financially, but most importantly, to guide me on ideas
mm,
on how best my books can take a direction, or what direction to take. To be
mm,
like, no, maybe you can. He has actually always advised me to write to
mm.
write about African culture, but that will be a consideration in the future books to come.
I like African culture.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Mm.
Yeah, so Mr. Joseph Mwanji and my dad, Mr. John Bosco Galwanda, have been pivotal into bringing this book to shape. But also those who would like to support us, we are always there online, Agapta Company, that they can reach out to us on our inbox, and
Mm.
we shall welcome them with open hands, because no money is always enough.
Before I went into the pages, the real pages of the work,
Yes,
I read
please.
something about the bedbug theory. How tell the people more about the bedbug theory, because to me, the way I was reading it, I felt like it applies to the force that we are facing in life, like the hardships and the ups and downs that we are facing. And when we apply the bedbug theory, I think it would apply to our lives. So
Actually, this you read it in one of in the foreword.
yeah.
It was compiled by Dr. Isaac Tebasima. I also thank him for giving me a foreword. So he's trying to tell us that in case bedbugs affected a person, the only way to eliminate them is using water. But he narrates that actually the water doesn't work. That when you pour water into maybe the bed which has been affected,
Mm.
the water, yes, it's hot, but at the end of the day, the water will still again become
Cold.
cold. So the bed bugs will still be there.
You're still right.
Yeah. So he's trying to tell us that you cannot solve fire by bringing out more fire. I
Mm.
think that he's trying to tell us that maybe we can find other means instead of using hot water. Yeah, but he quotes it from August Ball's book Theatre of the Oppressed, uh, because he tries to connect it with this book because it all has an element of oppression or oppressors and the
Mm.
oppressed.
Wow. Man, like you need to buy this book for sure. It's very interesting. So right about now, I'm going to read for you a dedication of this book, and then he will explain to us what exactly it means. Because very interesting words in here compared by biggest brains, man. Like for sure, I'm impressed. So it reads like this: to the oppressors and the oppressed, to those who find comfort in inflicting pain on others, to those who suck from the vulnerable in order to fatten their bellies, to those who lost their liberty in fight to ensure that those who don't have equally get theirs, to those who cherish the use of the whip rather than dialogue, to those who have suffered immeasurable pain in the quest for their freedoms, to comrades who have fled their homeland due to political persecution. This last statement actually, we have very many colleagues that have fled the 256, that have fled out of Uganda.
Yeah.
And most of them, some of them have sworn in that will never return until the government changes.
Yes.
Do we
Yes.
feel like the government, these are people who are trying to sack the vulnerable? Are these who are enjoying to inflict the pain on others? Are these the people that are trying to fatten their bellies?
You mean the government?
I'm talking about the government.
Oh, yeah, kind of. Actually, it's not like that. But you're not wrong to take it that way. Here we are, we are talking about people who have more
Uh,
influence and authority over the others. That if, for example, I am, I am maybe a big bro in a family, I don't have to always harass my young siblings because I have more power, energy than them. I be like, yo, come and mop the house, go and fetch water, go and do this while I sit down and watch and wait for lunch. So it's a matter of respecting one another and letting people be, because our constitution guarantees that everyone is equal. We shouldn't be suppressing the other over anything. So I feel like, but of course, the government has power to control everything. They can decide, they can put measures to make sure that no one is oppressed over the other. So, and of course, this has been a result of gun rule, I think. People are being shot day and night. People can no longer even demonstrate freely on the streets because they fear
let
that.
me let me ask you something. Uh Here we always have this talk and digging so much into people's minds talk about the reality. You talked about Kakwenza as one of your inspirations to write this piece of work.
Yes,
Mr. Kakwenza Kiravashai, is that his name?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, he's one of the people that have flown out of the country at the moment, and one of the people that we know are so much against the ruling government that he wants to see change coming into these people as one of his of your inspiration.
Yes.
Do you feel like do you think, or do you concur with his ideas? Whatever he says is all about the negativity about what the government has done, and he wants to see change coming into the country. Do you concur with his ideas?
Yes, I actually like his activism because in his writings, Kakwenza has not killed anyone. In
Mm,
his writings, no one has shed blood. And
mm,
of course, by the mere fact that his books have been banned, actually, it's a fact, all
mm,
of his books have been banned on Ugandan bookshops. It
mm,
shows that the message has actually reached to the intended audience. So I commend his bravery and brevity for having the mantle to come out and write. But of course, even in his exile, he has continued to write. He has not cowered away because when you read his books, he was actually while in detention. He had been coerced by the people he alleges that include the people, okay, who are in
mm-hmm.
power. So they were like, hey, can't you write for us and start maybe writing good about us? But according to his values, he couldn't be compromised because to him, he saw nothing good to write about those people. So I really commend his writing skills. And of course, I continue to borrow from him because he has not given up, much as he has suffered from the wounds due to his what his writing culture.
Personally, I do still believe that the pen is better than the sword, and I would urge everyone to do so much dig into the to dig so much deep into the reading. This is a very wonderful piece of work, and given the attention, trust me, we appreciate the brilliant minds about this. So, in a few words, I want to give appreciation to Mr. Kakwenza because I feel like he's one of the great inspirations, and going without thanking him or appreciating him, it would be not a good service.
Yeah, Mr. Kakweza Ruchirabashaija, I would like to say thank you for actually braving the situation at hand and coming out boldly to state things the way you see them without fear or favor. Yeah, so what you did a commendable job to actually open our eyes that we have also not we have actually come up as the Gen Zs to take on the mantle and continue to question why things happen the way they do in society. We, of course, without taking sides, but telling our story the way we would like to tell it. Yeah, so I would like to say thank you, and you continue to keep up with the writing, and of course, by so doing, I think our future is so bright. But to add on, I would also like to commend my friends, Dr. Stella Nyans, who is also in Germany, a fellow writer, Mr. Nabuyanda Solomon, who is an exilee in Germany because of political reasons. Yeah, they have also been there and supported our writing career in one or another.
Okay, that's very wonderful. So we are always coming to the end of our tonight show. And Mr. Gapto, what are your last remarks?
I would like to start with Alphonse Karl's quote. He said that the more that things change, the more they stay the same. So it's a client call to everyone to actually be awake, because change is coming, and of course, in case they don't see it very valuable, they should be alert and maybe take on the mantle to celebrate themselves. But also, we should not forget that one of the philosophers said, under a dictatorship, a nation ceases to exist. All that remains is the fiefdom regimented by the aliens from the outer space. So it's everyone's role to actually kick out these aliens from the what? From this earth, and maybe to find another planet to go on. And by conclusion, I would like to say that thank you everyone who has been part of this show. Uh, I've been glad.
All right, you had the very brilliant minds at Lemon City. I told you, Campus series, we dig so much into the minds of brilliant minds to give us all they have to get. This show, we had Mr. Kapura Gapto, another very brilliant poet, and always talking about social injustice. We are urging all the people in the country, man, so much focus on writings. We have many writers in the country that all the knowledge is buried in here, man. This is the wounded. It's a very interesting piece of work, man. Just go check it out on all social media platforms from Mr. Kapura Gapto. Tell them the social media platforms.
I use Agapta Campurida everywhere on TikTok. Agapta Campurida, TikTok, X, Instagram, and Facebook. But
And his X page is verified, so you don't be caught up into any scam.
yeah,
His page is verified, so if you don't find any other page Kapura Gapto not verified, that's not true.
yeah, yeah. So I conclude by quoting Chinua Achebe. He once said that unless we know where the rain started beating us, we are less likely to know where we dried. So it's everyone's role to actually know where they dried, but of course, digging up their country's history and not to repeat the same mistakes. Yeah, so it's a client call to everyone, to every reader, to really know where they dried. But of course, this will come after undressing their country's past and digging up the history so that they cannot repeat the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we're looking so much more stories in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you buy this book out at only 20,000 Ugandan shillings. The Wounded is the beautiful book. We'll see you again, Lemon City. Yeah.